Commander Jin-tae sat in his chair on the bridge of the border station Omega-7. The cold metal walls around him hummed with the sound of old machines. Outside the thick windows, space looked empty and dark. No ships had passed through this sector for 3 months. Jin-tae was tired. The Galactic Terran Empire gave him this job because someone had to watch the border. But what was the point? The Alien Hegemony Alliance controlled most of the galaxy. Humans were just small fish in a big pond. They paid taxes to the aliens and followed their rules. His communication officer, a young woman named Park Soo, suddenly looked up from her screen. Her face was pale. "Commander, I'm getting something strange on the long-range sensors," she said. Jin-tae walked over to her station. The green screen showed dots moving toward them from the void sector. The void sector was a place no one went. It was empty space where ships disappeared. Old stories said it was cursed. "How many contacts?" Jin-tae asked. 47, sir. But these readings don't make sense. The energy signatures are massive. Much bigger than anything we have. Jin-tae felt his heart beat faster. Could it be the hegemony? Are they planning an attack? Park Soo shook her head. "No, sir. These are human signals. Ancient Terran identification codes." The bridge went quiet. Everyone stopped what they were doing. Ancient Terran codes meant only one thing: the Ghost Fleet. 200 years ago, Admiral Wu Han led humanity's best ships into the void sector. It was during the First Hegemony War. Humans were losing badly. The aliens had better weapons and more ships. Admiral Wu Han said he had a plan to save humanity. He took 50,000 people and the most advanced fleet humans had ever built. They jumped into the void sector and vanished. Nobody ever heard from them again. Humans lost the war. The aliens made them sign papers saying they would be servants forever. The Empire became weak. People stopped believing in human strength. "Are you sure about those codes?" Jin-tae asked. "Yes, sir, I've checked 3 times. The signals are getting stronger. They'll be here in 2 hours. Jin-tae walked back to his command chair. His hands were shaking. If the Ghost Fleet was real, if they were coming back, everything would change. But what had happened to them in those 200 years? Were they still human? He pressed a button on his chair. "This is Commander Jin-tae to all stations. Prepare for possible contact with unknown vessels. All weapons on standby, but do not target unless I give the order." The crew moved quickly around the bridge. Park Soo kept watching her screen. The dots were getting bigger and closer. "Commander," said Chief Engineer Lee Wan from across the bridge, "those energy readings are impossible. Our best ships put out maybe 50,000 units of power." "These readings show millions of units," Jin-tae nodded. "Keep monitoring. Send a message to Fleet Command. Tell them the Ghost Fleet might be returning." An hour passed. The bridge was quiet except for the sound of machines and people breathing. Everyone was nervous. Jin-tae thought about his grandmother's stories. She used to tell him about the old days when humans were brave explorers, before the aliens came and made them small. "Contact in 15 minutes, Park Soo announced. Jin-tae stood up. Through the window, he could see tiny points of light in the distance. They were moving fast, much faster than normal ships. "Sir, I'm getting a transmission," Park Soo said. "It's on an old military frequency. Put it through." The speakers crackled with static. Then a voice came through, clear and strong. It spoke in old Terran language, the way people talked 200 years ago. "Border Station Omega-7. This is Captain Sol Yoon of the Terran Void Fleet. We request permission to approach." Jin-tae's mouth was dry. "This is Commander Jin-tae. Identify your vessel." "We are the vanguard of Admiral Wu Han's expedition force. Our flagship is the Eternal Defiance. We bring greetings from the void." The first ship came into view through the window. Jin-tae had never seen anything like it. It was huge, bigger than a city. Its hull was dark metal that seemed to drink in the starlight. Strange symbols glowed along its sides. The ship moved without sound like a giant ghost. "By the stars," whispered Lee Wan. "That thing is the size of a moon." More ships appeared behind the first one. Each one was massive and beautiful in a terrible way. They moved in perfect formation, like they were dancing through space. "Commander Jin-tae," Captain Sol Yoon's voice came again. "We have traveled far and seen much. The children of Terra call to their mother world. We have returned to fulfill our ancient promise." Jin-tae found his voice. "Captain Sol Yoon, where have you been? What happened to Admiral Wu Han? We thought you were all dead." There was a pause. When Sol Yoon spoke again, his voice was sad and proud at the same time. "Death is a small thing, Commander. We found something greater in the void. We found the way to make humanity strong again. Admiral Wu Han waits for us at the edge of this system. He has much to tell the Empire. The Eternal Defiance moved closer to the station. Up close, Jin Tae could see that it was even bigger than he thought. Weapons that looked like they could crack planets pointed in all directions, but they were not aimed at the station. Captain Sol Yun, I need to report to Fleet Command. They will want to know about your return. Tell them this, Commander Jin Tae. Tell them the lost children of humanity have come home. Tell them we bring gifts that will change everything. Tell them the time of kneeling to aliens is over. The transmission ended. Jin Tae looked at his crew. Everyone was staring at the massive ships outside. Park Soo was crying. Lee Wan was smiling for the first time in years. Jin Tae pressed his communication button. Get me Fleet Admiral Ryu Bo immediately. Tell him the impossible has happened. Tell him the Ghost Fleet has returned. As he waited for the connection, Jin Tae looked out at the dark ships floating in space. They were beautiful and terrible and full of secrets. 200 years they had been gone. What had they found in the void? What had they become? The answer would change everything. 3 days later, Commander Jin Tae stood in the main conference room of the Imperial Capital Station. Fleet Admiral Ryu Bo sat at the head of a long table. Around the table were the most important people in the Terran Empire. Generals, admirals, and politicians all waited nervously. Through the large windows, they could see the void fleet ships floating in space. 47 massive vessels that made their best warships look like toys. The ships did not move, but strange lights danced across their hulls. The situation is simple, Admiral Ryubo said. His voice was hard and cold. These people claim to be human, but look at their ships. No human technology can build something like that. They could be aliens pretending to be us. General Kim Ro shook her head. The DNA scans are clear, Admiral. They are human, but they have been changed somehow. The door opened and Captain Sol Yun walked in. He wore a uniform that looked old but was made from materials no one recognized. His skin was pale but healthy. His eyes were bright and seemed to see everything at once. Behind him came 2 other people, a woman named Engineer Hyun Mei and a man called Lieutenant Kai Ara. They moved with perfect grace like dancers. Honored leaders of the Terran Empire, Sol Yun said with a bow. We bring greetings from Admiral Wu Han and the Void Fleet. Admiral Ryu Bo stood up. Captain Sol Yun, you have been missing for 200 years. We need answers. Where have you been? What happened to your fleet? Sol Yun smiled sadly. We found something wonderful and terrible in the Void sector. An ancient civilization left their knowledge for us to find. We have spent 2 centuries learning from them. Engineer Hyun Mei stepped forward. She held a small device in her hand. It looked like a piece of crystal that glowed with inner light. May I show you? She asked. Admiral Ryu Bo nodded, but his hand moved closer to his weapon. Hyun Mei placed the device on the table. She spoke to it in a language that sounded like music. The device began to change. It grew larger and shifted into different shapes. Metal flowed like water. In seconds, it became a perfect model of the conference room. Complete with tiny people, everyone gasped. General Kim Ro jumped back from the table. This is matter manipulation at the quantum level, Hyun Mei explained. The precursor race left many such gifts. Our ships, our weapons, our bodies, all have been enhanced with their science. Lieutenant Kai Ara spoke for the first time. His voice was calm and deep. We are still human, but we are more than we were. The precursors were a peaceful race. They were destroyed by the ancestors of today's hegemony alliance. They left their knowledge hoping someone would use it to bring justice. Admiral Ryubo sat down hard in his chair. You're saying aliens made you into weapons? Not weapons, Sol Yun said. We made ourselves into something the galaxy has never seen before. Humans with the power to protect all free races. Dr. Park Jin, the Empire's chief scientist, leaned forward. The energy readings from your ships are impossible. How do you generate that much power? Hyun Mei touched the crystal device again. It showed a picture of a ship's engine. 0-point energy extraction. We take power from the fabric of space itself. One of our ships can generate more energy than your entire fleet. The room was quiet for a long moment. Everyone was thinking about what this meant. How many of you are there? Asked General Kim Ro. 50,000 souls left with Admiral Wu Han, Kai Ara answered. We have grown to over 200,000. Our ships can build new ships. Our medical technology has extended our lives and allowed us to have children in the void. Admiral Ryu Bo's face was red. And now you come back expecting to take over? We have been the government here for 200 years. Sol Yun's expression did not change. We come back to serve humanity. The Empire has done its best, but look around you. Humans pay tribute to aliens. Human colonies are restricted to a few dozen worlds. Human ships carry alien observers to make sure you follow their rules. He walked to the window and pointed at the stars. Out there, the Hegemony Alliance controls 10,000 worlds. They have decided that humans are a servant race. They will never let you become strong enough to threaten them. What are you suggesting? Dr. Park Jin asked. Freedom, Sol Yun said simply. Real freedom. Not just for humans, but for all the races the hegemony keeps down. Admiral Ryu Bo stood up again. This is treason! The peace treaties with the hegemony have kept us alive for 2 centuries. Engineer Hyun Mei laughed. It was not a mean laugh, but it was not kind either. Peace? You call slavery peace? Your children are born with genetic markers that limit their intelligence. Your best scientists are taken to work in hegemony labs. Your strongest warriors serve in alien armies. Commander Jin-tae had been quiet through the whole meeting. Now he spoke. What do you want from us? Sol Yun turned to him. Join us. Let us show you what humans can become. Let us teach you to use precursor technology. Let us help you build ships that can stand against any alien fleet. And if we refuse, Admiral Ryubo asked. Then we will protect you anyway, Kayara said. We will not force you to be free, but we will not let the aliens destroy you either. Suddenly, alarms began ringing throughout the station. An officer ran into the conference room. Admiral Ryubo, long-range sensors show hegemony warships jumping into the outer system. A full battle fleet, over 3,000 ships. Admiral Ryubo went pale. They must have detected the Void Fleet's energy signatures. Sol Yun nodded calmly. We expected this. The hegemony cannot allow humans to have real power. They will try to destroy us before we can teach you our secrets. He walked to the conference table and placed his hand on it. Strange symbols appeared on the surface, glowing with soft light. Admiral Wu Han, this is Sol Yun. The hegemony has arrived. A voice answered from the table itself. It was old and strong and wise. I see them, my old friend. 3,000 ships. They mean to end this before it begins. Admiral Ryubo stared at the table. Admiral Wu Han, you're alive? More alive than I have ever been, Admiral Ryubo. And ready to show these aliens what happens when they threaten the children of Earth. Through the windows, they could see the Void Fleet ships beginning to move. They turned toward the edge of the system where the alien fleet was coming from. Their hulls began to glow with power that made the stars look dim. Sol Yun looked at the Imperial leaders. Now you will see what 200 years in the void has taught us. Now you will see what humans can become. The war for humanity's freedom was about to begin. The Imperial capital station shook as Admiral Ryubo slammed his fist on the command table. Half of his officers stood on one side of the room. The other half stood on the opposite side. The Empire was breaking apart. These Void Fleet people are not human anymore, Ryubo shouted. Look at them. They speak to machines with their minds. They live for hundreds of years. They have alien technology in their bodies. Captain Rin Min stepped forward from the group that disagreed with the Admiral. She was young but brave, and many of the younger officers followed her. They are still human where it matters, she said. In their hearts, in their love for Earth and her children. They came back to save us from slavery. Commander Jin-tae stood in the middle of the room. He did not know which side to choose. Part of him was afraid of the Void Fleet's power. But part of him was excited by their promise of freedom. On the view screen, they could see the hegemony battle fleet getting closer. 3,000 alien warships in perfect formation, the biggest fleet ever seen in human space. Their hulls were black and covered with weapons. Sir, called out Sensor Officer Park Soo. The alien fleet will be in weapons range in 2 hours. They are sending a transmission. Put it through, Admiral Ryubo ordered. The screen filled with the image of an alien creature. It had gray skin and too many arms. Its eyes were like black holes. When it spoke, the words came through a translation device. I am Supreme Commander Vorthak of the Hegemony Alliance. You will surrender the alien infiltrators immediately. You will also surrender your entire fleet for inspection. Any human ships that have been contaminated with illegal technology will be destroyed. The creature's voice made everyone feel cold inside. You have 1 hour to comply. If you do not, we will destroy every human vessel in this system. Then we will destroy every human colony. The Terran Empire has violated the peace treaty by allowing alien technology into your space. The transmission ended. The bridge was quiet except for the sound of machines. Admiral Ryubo turned to his officers. You see? The aliens will destroy us all because of these Void Fleet people. We have to give them up. Captain Rin Min shook her head. The aliens were always going to destroy us eventually. This is our chance to fight back. Fight back with what? Ryubo asked. We have 200 ships. They have 3,000. Commander Jintae walked to the window. Outside, he could see the Void Fleet ships moving into position. They looked calm and beautiful and deadly. There is something else, Park Soo said quietly. I'm getting a transmission from the Void Fleet flagship. Put Captain Sol Yun through, Jintae said before Admiral Ryubo could speak. Sol Yun's face appeared on the screen. Behind him, Jintae could see the bridge of the Eternal Defiance. It was filled with soft lights and flowing surfaces that looked alive. Imperial forces, Sol Yun said. We know about Admiral Ryubo's plan to arrest us. We understand his fear, but we cannot allow you to surrender to the hegemony. Admiral Ryubo stepped in front of the screen. You will submit to Imperial authority. You will follow our orders. Sol Yun smiled sadly. We answer to a higher authority now. We answer to humanity's future. Suddenly, the lights on the Imperial station went out. Emergency power came on a few seconds later, bathing everything in red light. What happened? Admiral Ryubo shouted. Engineer Li Wan checked his instruments. Sir, the Void Fleet just took control of our main computer. They shut down our weapons and engines. On the screen, Sol Yun nodded. We do not wish to hurt you, but we cannot let you make the wrong choice. Lieutenant Kai Ara will now show you what we have learned in the Void. The view outside the window changed. One of the Void Fleet ships was moving toward a group of Imperial vessels. Admiral Ryubo had sent them to capture the Void Fleet. All ships open fire on the alien vessels. Ryubo ordered. Sir, our weapons are not working, reported the weapons officer. Outside, they watched as the Imperial ships fired their missiles and energy beams at the Void Fleet vessel. The weapons passed right through it like it was not there. Phase shift technology, Sol Yun explained. We exist slightly outside normal space. Your weapons cannot touch us. The Void Fleet ship reappeared behind the entire Imperial squadron. A single port opened on its hull. A beam of blue light shot out and hit an asteroid nearby. The asteroid, which was the size of Earth's moon, simply vanished. Not destroyed, gone completely. Every person on the Imperial station went quiet. The power of that weapon was beyond anything they had imagined. That was a warning shot, Sol Yun said. We could have destroyed your ships just as easily. Admiral Ryubo fell into his chair. His face was white. What do you want from us? We want you to choose, Sol Yun replied. Choose to be free. Choose to stand with us against the hegemony. Choose to become more than you are. Captain Rin Min stepped forward. I choose freedom. I choose to stand with the Void Fleet. More than half the officers in the room moved to stand with her. Admiral Ryubo looked around and saw that most of his people no longer followed him. Sir, Park Soo called out. The hegemony fleet is powering weapons. They will be in range in 30 minutes. On the screen, another face appeared next to Sol Yun. It was an old man with wise eyes and a strong jaw. He wore the uniform of an admiral, but it was covered with symbols that seemed to move on their own. I am Admiral Wu Han, the old man said. 200 years ago, I made a promise to protect humanity. Today, I keep that promise. Commander Jintae felt something change inside him. This was the moment he had to choose. Stay with the old empire that lived in fear, or join the Void Fleet that promised the stars. Admiral Wu Han, Jintae said. What do you need us to do? The old admiral smiled. Believe in yourselves again. Remember that humans were explorers and warriors before the aliens made us servants. Remember that we came from a world that tried to kill us every day and we survived. Outside the window, the Void Fleet ships began to glow brighter. They turned toward the approaching hegemony fleet like ancient gods preparing for war. Engineer Hyun Mei will now demonstrate why the aliens should fear us. Admiral Wu Han said. One of the smaller Void Fleet ships suddenly grew larger. Its hull stretched and expanded until it was twice its original size. New weapons appeared along its sides. New armor covered its hull. Adaptive hull technology, Sol Yun explained. Our ships can change themselves for any battle. Admiral Ryubo stood up slowly. He looked old and tired. If we join you, if we fight with you, there is no going back. The hegemony will never forgive us. Admiral Wu Han nodded. There was never any going back. The aliens plan to eliminate humanity within 50 years. They have been slowly poisoning your food and limiting your technology. We have the evidence. Captain Rin Min walked over to Commander Jintae. Are you with us? Jin-tae looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, the world his ancestors came from, the world that made humans strong. He thought about his grandmother's stories of brave explorers and fearless warriors. Yes, he said, I am with the Void Fleet. The Hegemony battle fleet was almost in range. 3,000 alien ships against 47 human vessels. It should have been an easy victory for the aliens, but they had never fought humans who remembered what they truly were. Commander Jin-tae stood in a room unlike anything he had ever seen. The walls of the Eternal Defiance were alive with moving patterns of light. The air hummed with energy that made his skin tingle. Around him, the leaders of both the Imperial Fleet and the Void Fleet gathered in a circle. Admiral Wu Han looked older than anyone had a right to look, but his eyes burned with the fire of youth. Engineer Hyun-mei worked at a console that seemed to respond to her thoughts. Captain Sol-yoon stood beside a tank filled with glowing liquid. The Hegemony fleet will attack in 1 hour, Admiral Wu Han said. 3,000 ships against our 47. In normal circumstances, we would lose. Admiral Ryu Bo, who had finally agreed to work with the Void Fleet, shook his head. Your ships are powerful, but they cannot fight that many enemies at once. You are correct, Sol-yoon replied. That is why we must use the Ascension Protocol. Captain Rin Min stepped closer to the glowing tank. What is Ascension? Engineer Hyun-mei turned from her console. For 200 years, we have been changing ourselves, making ourselves stronger, smarter, faster. The precursor technology does not just enhance our ships, it enhances us. She touched a panel on the wall. The room filled with images of human bodies. But these bodies were different. They glowed with inner light. Their muscles were stronger. Their brains showed more activity. The process takes 6 hours normally, Hyun-mei explained. But we have developed an emergency version that works in minutes. It is dangerous, but it will give you abilities you never dreamed of. Lieutenant Kai Ara spoke from across the room. Enhanced reflexes that make time seem to slow down. Strength that can bend steel. Most importantly, the ability to connect directly with precursor technology. Commander Jin-tae looked at the tank of glowing liquid. What are the risks? Failure means death, Admiral Wu Han said simply. Success means you will no longer be fully human as you understand it. You will be something new, something the galaxy has never seen before. Captain Rin Min did not hesitate. I volunteer to be first. No, Jin-tae said, surprising himself. I will go first. If this fails, the Empire still has you to lead. Admiral Ryu Bo grabbed Jin-tae's arm. Commander, this is insane. You could die. Jin-tae looked at the old admiral. Sir, I have been thinking about my grandmother's stories. She told me about humans who sailed across dangerous oceans to find new lands. Humans who climbed the highest mountains just to see what was on the other side. When did we stop being brave? He walked to the tank. What do I need to do? Engineer Hyun-mei smiled. Enter the tank. The nanomachines in the liquid will do the rest. Try to relax and let them work. Jin-tae removed his uniform and stepped into the warm, glowing liquid. It felt like being wrapped in starlight. The liquid covered his head, but somehow he could still breathe. Pain shot through his body like lightning. Every nerve felt like it was on fire. His muscles grew and changed. His bones became stronger. Most strange of all, his mind expanded. He could suddenly sense the ship around him, feel its engines, understand its weapons. The process lasted only 5 minutes, but it felt like hours. When it was over, Jin-tae stepped out of the tank. He felt incredible. Colors were brighter. Sounds were clearer. He could hear the heartbeats of everyone in the room. How do you feel? Admiral Wu Han asked. Like I can see the universe for the first time, Jin-tae replied. His voice sounded different, deeper, and more powerful. He walked to one of the ship's consoles. Without being taught, he knew exactly how to use it. His mind connected with the ship's computer. Information flowed through him like water. Amazing, he whispered. Captain Rin Min stepped toward the tank. My turn. One by one, the Imperial officers went through the ascension process. Captain Rin Min emerged stronger and more graceful than before. Admiral Ryu Bo came out looking 20 years younger. Each person who entered the tank became something more than human. Sir, called out an officer from the bridge. The Hegemony fleet is powering weapons. Admiral Wu Han nodded. It is time. All enhanced personnel to battle stations. Show the aliens what humans can become. Commander Jin-tae ran to his assigned battle station. His enhanced body moved faster than should have been possible. He reached the weapons console and his mind instantly connected with the ship's targeting system. Through the ship's sensors, he could see the hegemony fleet. 3,000 black warships arranged in perfect formation. They were beautiful in a cold mechanical way. All Void Fleet ships, this is Admiral Wuhan. Today we show the galaxy that the age of alien dominance is over. Today humanity takes its rightful place among the stars. The first alien missiles reached the human fleet. Jin-Tae watched through the sensors as the Void Fleet ships simply vanished, phasing out of normal space. The missiles passed through empty space where the ships had been. Phase shift complete, reported Engineer Hyun-Mei. Reappearing, behind enemy formation, the Void Fleet ships materialized, in the middle of the hegemony battle group. At such close range, every shot would hit its target. Fire, Admiral Wuhan commanded. Jin-Tae's enhanced mind guided the ship's weapons with perfect precision. Blue beams of energy lanced out from the human ships. Each beam struck an alien vessel. The results were devastating. The alien ships did not explode. They simply stopped existing. One moment they were there, the next moment there was empty space. Direct hits on all targets, Captain Sol Yoon reported. 100 enemy ships destroyed, but the aliens fought back. Energy beams and missiles filled space around the human ships. The Void Fleet's shields held, but they were taking damage. Hull breach on Deck 7, someone reported. Jin-Tae felt the ship's pain as if it were his own body. His enhanced connection to the ship's systems let him redirect power to the damaged areas. The hull repaired itself in seconds. Impossible, Admiral Ryubo said. The ship is healing itself. Adaptive armor, explained Hyun-Mei. The ship learns from each attack and becomes stronger. The battle continued for an hour. The enhanced humans fought with abilities that seemed like magic. Captain Rin Min piloted her ship through impossible maneuvers, dodging between enemy vessels at impossible speeds. Admiral Ryubo's tactical planning became perfect, predicting enemy movements before they happened. But the most amazing thing was how they worked together. The enhanced humans formed a group mind, sharing thoughts and plans instantly. They fought as one being with many bodies. Enemy fleet is retreating, reported Lieutenant Kai Ara. Through the sensors, Jin-Tae watched as the surviving hegemony ships turned and fled. Of the 3,000 ships that had attacked, only a few hundred remained. Let them go, Admiral Wuhan ordered. Let them tell their masters what they have seen here. Let them spread the word that humanity is no longer weak. Commander Jin-Tae felt something he had never felt before. Pride in being human. Not the small scared humans who bowed to aliens, but the true humans who came from a dangerous world and conquered the stars. What happens now? He asked. Admiral Wuhan smiled. Now we send a message to every human colony. We tell them that the age of freedom has begun. We tell them that any who wish to join us are welcome. Captain Sol Yoon walked to the main communication console, broadcasting on all human frequencies. This is the Terran Void Fleet. We have defeated a hegemony battle group in open combat. Any humans who wish to be free, who wish to become more than servants, join us. The stars are ours for the taking. The message went out across the galaxy. On 1,000 human worlds, people looked up at the stars and dared to hope again. The war for human freedom had begun in earnest. 6 months after the first battle, Commander Jin-Tae stood on the bridge of the Human Ascendant, the largest ship ever built by human hands. Around him, holographic displays showed the positions of 50,000 ships. The full might of the Hegemony Alliance gathered for one final battle. The aliens had learned from their first defeat. This time they brought everything. Ships from 12 different species, each with their own deadly weapons and battle tactics. The fleet was so large it blocked out the stars. They're scared, said Captain Rin Min from her position at the tactical station. Her enhanced senses could feel the fear radiating from the alien fleet, even across the vast distance of space. Admiral Wuhan sat in the command chair, looking calm despite the impossible odds. 2 centuries of planning had led to this moment, the final test of whether humanity deserved to rule the galaxy or be destroyed by it. Status report, he requested. Engineer Hyun-Mei looked up from her station. All 10,000 ships of the human fleet are ready, Admiral. Our manufacturing platforms in the Void sector have been working non-stop. Every vessel has been enhanced with the latest precursor technology, Lieutenant Kai Ara added. The enhancement process has been completed on all volunteer crew members. 2 million humans now carry precursor modifications. Jin-tae felt the truth of those words in his own body. The enhancement process had continued to change him over the past months. He was faster than any normal human, stronger than steel, and his mind could process information like a computer. But more importantly, he felt connected to every other enhanced human in the fleet. "Sir," called out Communications Officer Park Soo, "we're receiving a transmission from the Hegemony flagship." "Put it through," Admiral Wu Han ordered. The main screen filled with the image of Supreme Commander Vorthak. The alien leader looked even more terrible than before. His gray skin was covered with battle scars and his black eyes burned with hatred. "Admiral Wu Han," the creature spoke through its translator. "This ends today. We have assembled the greatest fleet in galactic history, 50,000 ships from every member species of the Alliance. You cannot win." Admiral Wu Han stood up slowly. "Supreme Commander Vorthak, your people made one mistake. You thought humans were just another weak species to be conquered. You did not understand that we come from a world that tried to kill us every single day. Your world made you strong," Vorthak admitted, "but strength alone cannot defeat numbers. Surrender now and we will allow some of your people to live as slaves." Admiral Wu Han smiled. "Let me tell you a story, Vorthak. 200 years ago, your ancestors destroyed a peaceful race called the Precursors. The Precursors had technology beyond anything you could imagine, but they were not warriors. So your people killed them all." The alien commander shifted uncomfortably. "The past is irrelevant. But the Precursors were wise," Admiral Wu Han continued. "Before they died, they hid their knowledge. They waited for a species that could use their gifts properly, a species that was both intelligent and warlike. They waited for humans." Jin-tae felt the truth of those words resonate through the fleet's group mind. Every enhanced human shared the same feeling. They were the chosen inheritors of an ancient legacy. "You have 10 minutes to surrender," Vorthak declared, and ended the transmission. Admiral Wu Han turned to his crew. "All ships prepare for battle. Today we show the galaxy what happens when you corner the children of Earth." The human fleet moved into formation, 10,000 ships against 50,000. But the human vessels were different now. Each ship could change its shape and size at will. Weapons that could tear holes in space itself lined their hulls. Most importantly, every ship was crewed by enhanced humans working together with perfect coordination. "Enemy fleet is moving to attack position," reported Captain Rin Min. Through the ship's sensors, Jin-tae watched as the alien armada approached. It was beautiful and terrible, a wall of metal and energy that stretched from horizon to horizon. Any normal human fleet would have been destroyed in minutes. "All ships execute Phase 1, Admiral Wu Han commanded. The human fleet suddenly vanished. Every ship phase shifted out of normal space-time, becoming invisible to alien sensors. "Now we hunt," whispered Lieutenant Kaiara. The human ships reappeared inside the alien formation. At point-blank range, every shot was guaranteed to hit. The battle began with devastating efficiency. Jin-tae's enhanced mind guided his ship's weapons with perfect precision. Each blast eliminated an enemy vessel completely. Around him, his fellow humans fought with abilities that seemed like magic to the aliens. Captain Hyun-mei's ship suddenly grew 3 times larger, sprouting new weapons and armor. Her vessel became a mobile fortress that carved through enemy formations like a blade. Admiral Ryu Bo, now fully enhanced and looking younger than ever, commanded a squadron of ships that moved in perfect synchronization. They attacked and defended as one organism, flowing around enemy fire like water. But the aliens were not helpless. They had fought many wars and conquered many species. Their weapons struck back with devastating force. "Hull breach on Deck 12, someone reported. Jin-tae felt the ship's pain and immediately redirected repair nanomachines to the damaged area. The hull healed itself in seconds, stronger than before. "Sir," Park Soo called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the alien fleet. Multiple species are surrendering." On the screen, images appeared of alien ships powering down their weapons. Creatures from a dozen different worlds were abandoning the fight. "The hegemony forced us to fight," one alien captain transmitted. "We do not wish to die for their empire." Admiral Wu Han nodded to Jin-tae. "Send a message to all surrendering vessels. Tell them to withdraw to safe distance. We have no quarrel with those who seek peace." The battle continued, but now it was clear that the humans were winning. The enhanced crews fought with perfect coordination while the alien, Alliance fell apart as species after species abandoned their hegemony masters. Enemy flagship is attempting to retreat, reported Lieutenant Kai Ara. Negative. Admiral Wuhan said firmly. Target Supreme Commander Vorthak's vessel. This ends today. The human ascendant turned toward the fleeing hegemony flagship. The massive alien vessel was trying to escape through hyperspace, but human technology was faster. Jin-Tae connected his mind directly to the ship's main weapon. Energy flowed through him as he aimed the most powerful cannon ever built by human hands. The weapon charged with the power of a small star. Fire, Admiral Wuhan commanded. The beam that erupted from the human ascendant was not just energy. It was concentrated justice for 2 centuries of human suffering. It struck the hegemony flagship and simply erased it from existence. Supreme. Commander Vorthak's last transmission was a scream of disbelief that echoed across the galaxy. All enemy forces have surrendered or been destroyed, Captain Rinmin reported. The bridge of the human ascendant was quiet for a moment. Then someone started clapping. Soon everyone was celebrating. They had done the impossible. They had defeated the mightiest empire in galactic history. Open a channel to all frequencies, Admiral Wuhan ordered. Let every world in the galaxy hear this message. The communication system activated, sending the Admiral's words to billions of beings across thousands of worlds. People of the galaxy, this is Admiral Wuhan of the Terran Ascendancy. The Hegemony Alliance has been defeated. The age of alien domination is over. We offer freedom to all species that have been enslaved. We offer justice to all beings that have been oppressed. He paused, looking out at the stars that now belong to humanity. But let this be understood. Any species that chooses conquest over cooperation, slavery over freedom, will face the same fate as the hegemony. Humanity has learned to be strong. We will use that strength to protect the innocent and punish the guilty. Commander Jin-Tae felt tears in his eyes. He thought about his grandmother's stories of brave human explorers. Now humans were not just exploring space, they were ruling it. What happens now, Admiral? He asked. Admiral Wuhan smiled. Now we build something better. A galaxy where species earn respect through their actions, not their age or technology. A galaxy where the strong protect the weak instead of enslaving them. Engineer Hyun Mei looked up from her console. Sir, I'm detecting signals from unexplored regions of the galaxy. There are more precursor sites out there, more knowledge waiting to be discovered. Lieutenant Kai Ara added. And our deep space sensors show other galaxy clusters. There are entire civilizations out there that have never heard of Earth or humanity. Admiral Wuhan nodded. Then our work is far from over. The universe is vast and full of wonders and dangers. Humanity must be ready for both. Jin-Tae looked out at the stars and felt a joy unlike anything he had ever experienced. Humans were no longer servants hiding in the corners of space. They were explorers again, warriors again, builders of civilizations again. The age of human ascendancy had begun. In the months that followed, the Terran ascendancy grew rapidly. Alien species that had been enslaved by the hegemony joined willingly. Human colonies spread to 10,000 worlds. The enhanced humans taught others their secrets, but only to those who proved worthy of such power. Commander Jin-Tae became governor of the former hegemony capital world. He worked to build a government based on merit rather than fear. It was hard,